Hi all, and welcome to a brand new video from Accademia La Llibreta. Today we're going to check all the answers for the latest English PC exam, June 2022, Valencia. In the first part of the video, we're going to briefly check the exam structure, and then we're going to actually see each and every answers of the latest exam. So the English PCE exam is made of two parts. Part 1, divided in two parts, A and B, and then part 2. Part 1A is a comprehension reading activity. We have a total of 3 multiple choice questions. However, we only need to pick and answer 2 of the questions given. What happens if instead of just answering we answer to the 3 questions where our examiner will correct questions number 1 and question number 2. As you can see, it's a quite long reading activity. Actually, it's the longest reading activity seen in a PCE exam. However, you can see, well, you will see that the actual questions and options are much easier than the reading activity. So don't worry, generally speaking, if you practice with an English PC exam, don't worry about the reading comprehension. It doesn't matter if you find it a bit difficult, because the good news is that the questions are really accessible. So as you can see, 3 questions, A, B, C. So we have a 33.3% of possibility of getting the right answer. Now, part 1B, use of English. So this part, it could be quite similar to the Cambridge English exam structure. Use of English, it means that we have questions about grammar, about quantifiers, reported speech, conditionals, and again, we have 3 options. We have a total of 11 sentences, and you only need to pick 8. Again, if you make a mistake and you answer to all of them, the examiner will pick the first 8 questions and sentences. And finally, we have a part 2. It's a writing task. We have 2 options, A and B, and we only need to pick 1 and write between 150 and 180 words. As you can see, it can give up to 6 points. So definitely, this is the most important part of our exam. So now let's have a look at each and every answers of our exam. So as mentioned before, we say the reading comprehension is good. Total of 3 questions, multiple choice. First one, according to the text, and the correct answer is Princess Marco's love story can be linked to that of Prince Harry. And we can see that the actual part of the text that gives us the answer is here. Drawing comparison to Britain's Prince Harry. So it makes it clear here that we can see that there are some common aspects between the story of Prince Harry and Princess Marco's story. So the important thing is that in order to make sure that you pick the correct answer, just you need to find into the text something that gives you the same meaning, okay? So obviously, we're not talking about exactly the same words, but same meaning. So just to make it easier, I've highlighted the answers in the text. That's not something that you must do in the exam, but my personal advice is to do it, not because you have to, but because it's much easier for you to verify that you actually picked the correct answers. Sometimes we think, well, I think the correct answer is C, but then when you go back into the text and you actually can't find the information, well, that shows you that perhaps you need to look better and you need to pick another answer. Now, question number 2, why is Japan's monarchy in jeopardy, in danger? Again, 3 options. The correct one this time is B, because there are very few claimants to the throne. And we can find the answer here. The family is running low on members. So as you can see, we have completely different words, but the meaning is the same. Here in the text, they're telling us that the royal family has got very few members. Okay, so in another way, we can understand that that's the reason why, you know, if we have very few people in the royal family, well, a possible consequence, a logical consequence is that we have a few people who can apply to the throne. And finally, question number 3, how did Michael and Kemuro meet? So they want to know from us the way that those 2 persons met. And the correct one is at a student mobility event. And now let's have a look in the text. I guess it's here. No, sorry, it's a little bit earlier in the text. Great. It was there that she met Kemuro in 2012 at an event for students interested in studying abroad. So you see, we have the word event here, students interested in studying to a different country, and it's just another way to say that the event was about students' mobility, students moving to different places for studying. All right, now part 1b. Again, we need to pick only 8 out of 11 questions, and just to make it easier for you, I've highlighted the correct options, but I've also written the correct answers here in the sentence. And that's also a tiny trick, but it can help you a lot. So whenever in an exam you have a similar activity, my advice is once you picked your answer, just read the sentence, the question, and see if it makes sense. If you have this and follow your guts. So if you think, well, I think that's the correct one, but actually once I read it aloud, there's something wrong about it. Well, then revise the other 2 options. So here, why is swimming B the correct option? Well, we can definitely say that A is the wrong one, because remember that whenever we want to use a verb as a subject, and we know that we need a subject here because we have verb to be, well, the verb needs to go in the ing form. So we have the infinitive here, so that's definitely wrong. Now we have ing form both in B and C option. And why B is the only correct one? Because C is misspelled. We need a double M. All right. Now, question number 5. Which word means the same as currently? This is the only synonym question we have in the use of English part. And generally speaking, in the PC English exam, we always have a question about synonym. And a correct option is C, because currently means recently, nowadays, you know. And now let's move to 6. We have everything was ready when arrived. Definitely anything is the wrong one, because remember that when we use anything is the quantifier, anything is because we must use a verb in the negative form. But here we have the positive form of was, therefore we need to pick everything. And that's the correct spelling. I mean, between A and B, the right spelling in this sentence is A. Next one, my personal life is nobody's business. This is a strong sentence. We have 3 options again, and the correct one is nobody's with apostrophe S because we want to express possession. Not only we want to say that nobody should be involved in my personal life, but I want to say that my personal life belongs just to myself. Next one, we have any, some, and a few as options. So we're talking about quantifiers. The only correct one is any, because we want to say that anyone, any doctor will say that she didn't know what she was doing. Again, it's quite a strong sentence. It gives us a message that is clear. That's why we say any doctor. It doesn't matter if my daughter or your daughter is, it can be anyone. Next one, next sentence, it concerns phrasal verbs. We have off with just one F, off with double F, and then we have a different, again, a different preposition, which is over. I took off my shoes before I entered the room. Here, the only possible correct choice is off, because to take off is a phrasal verb needed to express when we want to, you know, when we want to get changed, when we want to remove our jacket, our shoes, or anything related to clothes. If we say take over, I mean, take over, it does exist, but it's got a completely different meaning. Take over, it means to take charge of something when someone else was dealing with this task. Then we have, I loved my grandfather. He was a nameable, amusing man. Now, we know for sure that amuse is the wrong option. How do we know that? Well, because we have an adjective here, we have a noun here, we have a comma, and therefore we know 100% sure that we must find an adjective to complete our sentence. And amuse, we know that is a verb. So A, I'm sorry, but bye-bye. Then we have B and C, amuse and amusing. And what do we want to express here? We want to say that my grandfather, he was an entertaining person, not that he was entertained by someone or by something. Therefore, we want an ing adjective, which is amusing. Now, let's move to sentence number 11. This is actually a reported speech. It's a very common option in the latest PC exam. This is the third year on a row that we have a reported speech sentence. So I recommend you to practice with this piece of grammar. I can swim really fast. We picked option A is the only correct one, and probably is easier to understand if we look at the wrong 2 options. When we have told, he told that he could swim really fast, but we know that with tell, we need an object pronoun. He told me, he told us, and that's not the case here. With the next option, is the other way around. We have say, and we say we can't use an object pronoun. We say he said that, etc., etc. But here we have he said me. So we know that B and C are wrong, definitely. That gives us the right answer, which is A. 12 of all of his children, she was the one most like him. Here we need to pick like because it helps us to express similarity. We're talking about physical appearance. Sometimes, as I say earlier, it helps if you're in doubt, what you can do, you can complete the sentence with the other 2 options. And sometimes you can just say, I don't know why like is the correct one, but I know that B and C, they're definitely wrong. So again, try to follow your gut. Next one, I blame myself for not paying attention to what the teacher was saying. Definitely I is the wrong one, because here we have a preposition, but we know that after subject pronoun, like I, we need 100% a verb, and that's not the case. Why myself is better than me? Well, because we want to highlight that I'm talking about myself. No, is I blame myself for not paying attention. Or don't say I blame me. So it's a reflexive pronoun. And finally, the last option, the last sentence for part 1b is a conditional sentence related, again, like for the reported speech. In the last 3 years, we always came across a conditional sentence in part 1b. The good news that in the previous 2 years, it was always a third conditional sentence, which is, as you may know, is the most complex conditional. However, as you can see here, is a first conditional, which is with the zero conditional, the easiest conditional we have. And we know that is formed, its structure is if plus present simple plus future simple. Like here, if you have any question, I will do my best to answer them. And now let's move to the most important part of the exam, because as mentioned before, it gives us up to 6 points. So in our courses, no matter if it's the extensive one or if it's the intensive one, believe me, we practice a lot with writing, because we know how important is for you this part of the exam. So you have 2 options, A and B. You must pick just one of them, and you need to write between 150 and 180 words. It's not quite a lot. Actually, most of my students, at least at the beginning of the course, they need to make a bit of effort not to overwrite. And it's really important that you keep the limits, because if you don't do so, you will get penalized. So before starting writing, my main advice is identify the kind of essay that you are asked to write about. As you may know, it's not the same structure. I mean, each essay has got a peculiar structure. So the opinion one has got one, the descriptive essay has got another one, and then we have the foreign against has got a different one. Okay, so it's really important that not only you answer and you talk about what they ask you, but also that you reflect the structure of the proper essay. So how do we know that this is a bit of a mix of opinion and descriptive essay? Well, let's have a look at the writing task. Do you think selfishness is sometimes a good thing? Explain your view and give example from your own experience of life. So do you think, will you relate it to an opinion or descriptive essay? Well, yes, it's definitely an opinion, no? Because it's asking you, tell me about what you personally think. What about explain your view? Again, opinion. They want to know your point of view. And what about now? Give example from your own experience of life. That's more about descriptive essay. So don't ask me why. It's quite common in the PC exam to have at least one option, like in this exam, that is actually a mix between 2 essays. So it's not 100% opinion, it's not 100% descriptive, but it's a bit of a mix. B is actually between the 2 of you, it's easier, and actually most of my students pick this option, which is it is always better to tell the truth than to lie. Explain your view, use specific reasons and details to support your choice. This is 100% opinion essay, because they want to know your opinion. They want to be specific and give details and reasons about your choice, about your view, but not about your personal life. So be careful, because in an opinion essay, you mustn't provide your personal experience from your personal life. Okay. However, if they ask you to do so, like in option A, well, then you should do so. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that above all that you find it interesting and useful. And please, in the comments, just say like if in the future you would like videos about grammar, in that case, which piece of grammar, or if you prefer something about a reading activity or essay. In this way, I can be, I can help you out with your studies. And thank you very much for watching the video and for following us on our YouTube channel. Bye.